The night air was cold, sharp enough to cut through bones, when the echo of a child's terrified scream shattered the silence. "Daddy, please stop them," she cried, her tiny voice trembling with fear under the broken streetlight. 5 men circled the young father like wolves, confident, mocking, expecting him to break. But something in his eyes didn't break, it burned. A janitor by uniform, but a father by heart, he stood tall, fists clenched, jaw tight, like a man who had tasted struggle all his life and refused to lose another battle. The little girl behind him sobbed, clutching her worn backpack, unaware that this was the night her father would reveal a strength the world had long forgotten. Before we continue, please like, comment, share and subscribe to channel name if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of a father's love. His name was Ryan Cole, a single dad and night janitor at the city docks. Life had never been gentle with him. He once wore a uniform too, not of a janitor, but of a Navy rescue diver, fearless under the waves. But war changed destinies like wind flips a page. A blast underwater during a mission left him injured, unconscious for days, and medically discharged. Pension delayed, medical bills high, life pushed him down until even breathing felt expensive. His wife, unable to bear the weight, left him with their 2-year-old daughter, Emma. "She needs someone stable," she had said. She walked away with her suitcase, leaving Ryan with a toddler, a half-empty fridge, and a heart full of questions. He swept floors to feed his child, cleaned spills to buy her books, and smiled through exhaustion because Emma deserved love, not complaints. Every night after shift, he carried her on his shoulder through the quiet streets, humming her favorite tune despite the ache in his spine. Their bond grew from shared struggle, small victories, cheap ice creams, and whispered promises. But on that particular night, fate wasn't planning to be kind. Ryan had stayed late to finish extra work so he could afford a birthday cake for Emma next week. As they walked home, cutting through the alley near the docks, a gang noticed the envelope of overtime cash peeking from his pocket. 5 men, drunk on arrogance, cornered him. Their leader grinned, confident that a janitor would never fight back. Ryan tried to reason, asked them to let him go, he didn't care about the money. But when one man shoved Emma, making her cry, something ancient awoke inside him. Fear dissolved into something fierce, protective, unstoppable. His heart roared louder than the men's threats. Years of suppressed training twisted into instinct. He moved like a bullet, one strike to the jaw, another to the ribs, using their weight against them. Emma stood frozen, eyes wide, watching her father transform from quiet janitor into a warrior she never knew. The first man hit the ground gasping. The second fell after a swift elbow to the temple. The other stumbled back, surprised this janitor fought like a soldier reborn. But they came again, angrier. Ryan's knuckles bled, lungs burned, vision blurred. 5 against 1 was no fair fight. Yet he kept standing because his little girl was watching, because her voice echoing, "Daddy, please stop them," was both a plea and a reminder that failure was not an option. By the time the last man hit the pavement, Ryan staggered, barely breathing. The street was silent except for Emma's sobs as she rushed to him. He fell to his knees, hugging her, whispering that everything was okay even though his body shook from pain. Just then, headlights swept across them. A black SUV stopped. From it stepped a couple in Navy uniforms, Admiral Jonathan Hayes and his wife, Admiral Veronica Hayes, returning from a late inspection at the docks. They had witnessed the last part of the fight, shock and admiration crossing their faces. Veronica hurried over, her voice soft but firm as she checked Ryan's condition. Jonathan glanced at the unconscious men scattered around and then at the exhausted father holding his sobbing daughter. The couple asked Ryan what happened. He explained, not proudly, only with honesty. He wasn't expecting praise, just relief that Emma was safe. But as Jonathan listened, he recognized the posture, the scars, the skill. He quietly asked if Ryan had ever served. When Ryan nodded, eyes lowered like a man embarrassed by his fall from grace, something changed in the Admiral's face. Respect. Recognition. A veteran who didn't brag, just protected. Veronica gently lifted Emma, wiping her tears, giving her a candy from her pocket. Emma clung to her instantly. She had never felt so cared for by strangers. At the hospital, while Ryan's wounds were treated, the Admiral couple waited. They offered Emma warm soup, wrapped her in a navy jacket far too big for her tiny frame, making her smile for the first time that night. Ryan watched with grateful eyes, realizing that kindness from strangers feels like rain in a desert. Over the next weeks, the Hayes kept checking on them. They learned about Ryan's struggle, the job, the medical discharge, the abandonment, the dreams he once had. Jonathan saw a man with honor but no chance, ability but no platform. Slowly, they invited Ryan to help with training new recruits, not officially, just part-time at first. Ryan hesitated, insecure, but Emma's proud little smile made courage bloom again. He accepted. The first day he stepped on the training field, the recruits underestimated him. A janitor teaching soldiers? They laughed, until he demonstrated. Calm, precise, powerful. Within minutes, the field fell silent, respect earned not by words but by skill. Jonathan watched secretly from the sidelines, impressed by how Ryan taught with patience and real experience. Soon, they offered him a permanent position, not just as an assistant, but as an instructor in combat and underwater rescue. His life changed like dawn after a long night. Emma thrived too. With new stability, she joined school confidently, always telling her classmates, "My daddy is a hero." Her smile returned, bright like sunrise. Ryan worked with pride now, no longer sweeping floors but shaping future protectors. He still cleaned occasionally, not because he had to, but because it reminded him of where he came from and how far he had risen. Months later, during a Navy ceremony, Jonathan called Ryan on stage. In front of officers, recruits, families, the Admiral placed a medal on Ryan's chest. Lights flashed, applause thundered, but Ryan saw only Emma's teary eyes shining back. She ran into his arms and hugged him tight, whispering, "Daddy, you stopped them, and you never stopped believing in us." For the first time in years, Ryan cried, not from pain, but from overwhelming gratitude. He spoke to the audience, voice trembling. He thanked the Admiral couple, not for saving him, but for seeing him when the world looked away. He thanked Emma, for being his reason to fight. He reminded everyone that sometimes heroes wear janitor uniforms, sometimes strength looks like love, and sometimes all a man needs is one chance to rise again. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating more emotional stories like this. Tell us in the comments, would you stand and fight for someone you love, no matter how hard life gets? Because some stories aren't just stories. They are reminders that even in darkness, love can turn an ordinary father into a hero.